I was informed the other night that a couple of days ago that some court somewhere has now said that states can regulate abortion. And it was said to me in a manner of, this is a good thing. What does that say about our nation and our state and us as Christians, that we would even think that some black-robed tyrant has told the legislature, you may now regulate the unalienable right to life? We are not to regulate abortion. We're not to fight abortion. What we need to do is we need to fight for the person. We need to change our entire way of thinking. Stop playing defense and go on the offense, because there's many of us that get criticized because we will not vote for regulations, and people can't understand why. Well, if you heard some of the panel earlier, it's because that guy named Satan just loves to throw these little things out here, and we go running out trying to put out this fire and that fire and that fire and that fire. And for 40 years we've been trying to put out all of those little fires, rather than focusing on the person, and that person deserves equal protection. And I can give you one very clear example, one of many, on a national level, where we spent 10 to 15 years going for the partial birth abortion ban. Tens of millions of dollars were raised. Years and years of effort put into that. Congress passes a partial birth abortion ban. We're going after one procedure. Just one procedure. That's what we focused on. And then we get the Supreme Court decision in Carhart v. Gonzalez. And do you want to know what your tens of millions of dollars and all of your efforts, does anyone know what that decision says? Because the pro-life community, right after that decision was rendered, was elated. This is a miracle, this is great! Until they read the decision that said, you know, you can't pull the baby all the way out to its neck and then kill it. You can only pull it out to its belly button. And you can still kill the baby! That's what your millions of dollars got you. And our judges, Supreme Court justices, appointed by Republican presidents, said, you know, and this is in their decision, they said, you better make it just a little less gruesome, and then people will be more accepting of the murder of these children. What if we'd have spent 15 years fighting for the person instead of fighting against just one procedure? Recently, Dr. Carson just spoke in front of our Democrat president. Made some national news. Well, if we're going to rise up and applaud him, then we need to hold ourselves to the same standard. And the truth is we're not, because the killing continues. You don't have a God-given right to a gas tax. You don't have a God-given right to a $6 billion and growing state budget. But you do have a God-given right to life. Yep, of all of those items, which ones do you think we spend the time on? What we're talking about here is the defining moral issue of our age. That in a society that is educated and supposedly progressive as ours, we're killing 4,000 of our own children every day. Because of the wonders of modern technology, we can see the miracle of life at its earliest stages of development in the womb, and we know those are our babies that we are killing. All of us are here because we believe in the right to life, but I submit to you, we won't abolish the killing of our own children until we learn the lessons from abolition. For years, their generation played games with freedom as we are with life. They tried regulating it. They tried paying lip service to it. But it wasn't until they said, as long as one man is enslaved, that none are free, did they finally stop it. Likewise, until we say, as long as we are willing to allow the killing of one innocent child, none are safe. We have two major political parties in America. One enshrines the killing of children in its platform and its policies. The other one, the one I represent, you see the sign behind me, frankly, pays mostly lip service to stopping it. We nominated a president last year that signed into law taxpayer-funded child killing for $50 a pop. And then he lied about it. And then he turned right around and ran a pro-child killing television ad in battleground states during the campaign. Even more tragic, some of us in this room who have been fighting for pro-life battle for years not only didn't call him on it, but covered for him simply because we deluded ourselves into thinking as long as he doesn't kill as many babies as Barack Obama, then he's our man. We voted in the Iowa House 2 years ago on the Health and Human Services budget. I sat on the budget subcommittee. We voted to strip all the taxpayer-funded abortions out of that, to strip out all of the Planned Parenthood language out of that bill, language like product of conception. When that budget bill went over to the Senate, of course, they didn't like that one to put all the language back in, so a compromise was made at the end of 2011 in order so that everybody could go home. We couldn't shut the state government down. Never mind that our president can threaten to shut down the entire federal budget if we don't have money for Planned Parenthood and other abortionists. But here on the state level, as Senator Zahn said earlier, the House Republicans caved. They caved and they compromised to follow Part A of the Hatch Act. I'm sorry, the Hyde Amendment. So they voted to fund the murder of babies who, under no fault of their own, were conceived in rape or incest. And I stood in front of the caucus, I said, this compromise isn't going to save a single baby. And it panned out to be true because during the interim, Representative Dwayne Alon sent a legislative request in and found out we're still using state taxpayer money, not federal, because the Hyde Amendment prohibits it, but we're still using the state taxpayer money to fund abortions for fetal anomaly, even though that was supposed to have been stripped out. Representative Alons and I went and spoke with the governor. The governor refuses to live up to the language that the House Republicans did pass. And so to this day, if a baby has a clubbed foot or cleft palate, you may be paying for its murder. Yep. And yet I have not seen anybody holding anybody accountable for this. Soon we will be commemorating Easter in churches, just like this, all over the world. And I can promise you this, that the God would leave 99 behind to find the one lost sheep, who would have sent his son to die a brutal death on the cross on behalf of just one repentant sinner. Takes matters of life and death very, very seriously. There are no exceptions to murder where he is concerned. He died for those exceptions. This is not a game. This is not a political football. God will not be mocked. We will reap what we sow. I can also promise you this. When we stand before him one day, he won't stand for excuses like, oh, the Supreme Court struck it down, or it was okay, it wasn't popular, or we had to take the best deal we could get. Only when we fear God more than we fear black-robed tyrants or care more about his word and his children more than we do about our money or winning elections at all costs will the killing stop. Until the killing stops, we'll go more in debt and lose more of our liberties. If you think God will bless a nation that annihilates its most innocent without shame, then you don't know the God that's worshipped in this church. But one day you will. And I will tell you personally, I fear no man but I do fear the one true supreme judge.